Oh my, what an awkward situation. Well, it would seem that Mr. Bowden Black, the patriarch of Hill House, or as the public would call it, Tudor Hall, well, has gone missing, in the loosest of terms. He hosted such a wonderful dinner party, such a glamorous host of a party of intrigue, suspense, and of course, blackmail. What's a party without some secrets, right? Well, unfortunately, those secrets tend to get some people killed. And unfortunately, our victim tonight is the host himself, Mr. Bowden Black. But who could have done this? Well, it could have been the maid, or the butler. But the maid, well, in servitude to Mr. Black's family, is certainly an intrusive one, as the maid's family made sure that she stayed in his servitude, so their secrets don't get out. She has a motive, of course, and so does the butler. Although the butler much less likely, as he's been in the family service for years. Well, no matter. I suppose we need to wonder who could have killed Mr. Bowden Black. Who could have done such an heinous thing? And where was he murdered? Of course, it's the billiard room, the hall, the ballroom. But that doesn't really matter. What was even used to kill him anyway? Could have been the rope, could have been the wrench, the candlestick, the knife, the lead pipe, the gun. Oh, the gun's missing, isn't it? How curious. Yeah, he was killed in the hall, or at least was found there. And, well, as to what killed him, a knife, a simple black to the throat. So, who killed him is the final question remaining. Well. It has been quite some time since I've talked to you guys. A really long time. And I promise there's an explanation for it, several in fact, but you're not here to hear me squabble about that. I will say really quick, this was not the video I was intending to post this week. I was gonna do something a little bit more original with my own characters, but I lost everything last week, and I am not, I'm trying to make do with what I have at the moment. So, back on topic. The subject of today's video, Clue! Or Cluedo, if you live in the UK. Why Clue? Why is this the video I come back to YouTube on? Well, there are several reasons for that. One is because of technical difficulties. I was gonna post something different, but, this is what I had. So, we're posting Clue now. Secondly, it just has a lot of nostalgia for me. Clue as a whole has a lot of nostalgia for me. Both the board game, playing that a lot as a kid, and watching the movie. Yes, there is a movie. It came out in 1985. It has an all-star cast, and had a limited release in theaters, and depending on which theater you went to, you got one of 3 endings, which is why it bombed the box office. It had a lot more success on home video. Still does. You can watch it for free on YouTube. I recommend it. It's really good. They're planning on remaking it, by the way. At least I think it is. Ryan Reynolds apparently is doing something with it, and okay. Sure. We're not here to talk about potential box office bombs. We're here to talk about the board game Clue, or at least the main 6 suspects, because that is what we'll be doing today, and that is why this is also called a character redesign and rewrite. While there are many versions of all the characters throughout all the different media of Clue, movie, board game, all TV show apparently that you can watch for free on Tubi, I'll be using most of the versions to actually inspire my own, as well as put my own spin on it, my own take. We'll say this, while there are more player characters and suspects in other iterations of the game officially joining the cast in 1985 with the VCR game, we won't be drawing them in this video. And that does include Dr. Orchid, despite becoming a main suspect in place of Miss White in 2016. We're drawing Miss White, we're not drawing Dr. Orchid. Sorry. We won't be drawing the victim today, nor will we really be drawing the butler or the maid or going that far into detail with it, but they were recently explained in the intro, so that is where I'll leave that off, because, if need be, I can talk a little bit more about it, but I have something for it. We will also not be drawing the inspector, or the investigator, or any of them. I did grow up with the movie and the game. Mostly, I'll be using both of those for inspiration for the most part, and I mean like the original game. Hence, I will be in my head calling the butler Wadsworth and the maid Yvette. The names are pseudo-names. No one to their knowledge is going by their real names at the dinner party. We'll be keeping that because I think that's interesting, and also, come on, we can be more creative. Another fun idea is that this be a mask dinner, but I ended up canning that idea pretty quick. There wasn't any real reason for it. I just did not feel the need, the want or the need to draw fancy masks at the moment. And plus, I just wanted this to be solely about the characters themselves. So, yeah. Let's get started, shall we? It would seem we're going in classic game order, meaning we are starting off with Miss Scarlet, the femme fatale, the mercenary of Macau in one version, the singer, the informant, which I did keep, the columnist in the most recent version. She has had the least amount of changes to her personality and character as a whole, and honestly, she's iconic for it. She's incredibly iconic for it, and we are 100% keeping a lot of the stuff that made Miss Scarlet Miss Scarlet. I don't believe she needed much changing. So, I named her Vivian, which is the name that she had in the British TV show. Yeah, did you know there was a British game show for Clue? Anyway, I didn't know that until I looked into it, but you know. But my version of Miss Scarlet is classy, attractive, and confident in everything she does. She doesn't cut corners or beat around the bush. She's an informant, using the information she gathers from her brothel to pay her bills. She uses some of that information to run her blog, where gossip runs wild. She knows that she's being blackmailed, and she doesn't care. Not really. Bowden Black was a good friend of hers at one point, being rather close in their youth. That relationship has since become strained and distant. So, when the invitation was extended to her, she saw it as a sign to reconnect with an old friend. But, well, we saw where that led to. So, could it have been the Dame Miss Scarlet who killed Mr. Bowden Black? She didn't really seem to care about his death, but I suppose only time will tell on that one. Well, I suppose we're on to our next subject. Our next suspect. A military man with a distinguished military career. Colonel Mustard. Okay. Alright, so the Colonel hasn't really had many changes either. He's had a couple of changes, not many. Scarlet has the least changes, but he's also had a couple of changes. Yeah, including his name, which, Jesus Christ, in the film, he's a World War II war profiteer who stole Air Force radio and sold them on the black market. He's a paranoid man in another one. He's always been a military man. I wanted to keep that the same. But, and he's always been, like one of the key people of blackmail. So, I suppose my version of Colonel Mustard, or Mike, or Michael, is, well, I gave them all first names, just let him be, is a highly decorated war veteran, much like his father, Algernon, one of his previous names before him, who served dutifully with Bowden Black's father, Hugh. Mustard is the county's hero, being known and revered for all his accomplishments during his time in the Special Air Force, even publishing a novella of his glory days in the service, which is normally shown to be an airport read. Little does anybody know that most of his medals of honor were gained through treacherous means. War profiteering, selling stolen parts on the black market, which is how he truly came into his wealth. He had been blackmailed by Bowden Black after finding out of the Colonel's misdeeds through a mutual of theirs. Being his unknown blackmailer for the better half of the year, Black invites Mustard to his masked dinner. Not really any more masked, but saying that all will be explained in due time. The Colonel takes this as a sign to get back at the person that has it out for him, and his reputation. But, yeah. That's kind of my version of Colonel Mustard. I do think he hasn't changed that much in most of his versions either. Him and Scarlet, I fear, have changed the least. I would also say Professor Plum has also not changed much, but we'll get to him at the end. But was it the Colonel? I mean, he certainly has the motivation for it, doesn't he? And I have every reason to get back at Mr. Bowden Black. Well, on to our next subject, and this one's a bit of a doozy. Miss White. Or Chef White, as we'll call her, because, let's be honest, she has a very interesting history. Alright, Miss White has distinctly the most changes to everybody, along with Mr. Green, but Mr. Green's next, so we'll get to him later. What's really funny is that she is the only one of the main 6 suspects that have ever been, like, taken out and completely replaced. And I mean that. She's usually seen as the frazzled servant of the body household, the cook, or the housekeeper in the classic versions. But in the most recent versions, she is basically a butch lesbian that you'd see on Top Chef. And that is something I am not mad at and something that I definitely kept. So, my version of Miss White. Miss Diana has had a very complicated history in her very short life thus far. Being a child star since she was 4, she had never had a normal childhood. In fact, most of her life has been treated as one big soap opera, becoming a downward spiral with every passing day. Every partner she's ever had has died or disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The first written off as an accident, the next a suicide, and the next was never seen again. She had been given the moniker the White Widow and repelled anyone that wanted to become her lover for the fear of losing their life. Well, that didn't stop her current partner, which is a sweet southern lady, who's confident that she will be the one to warm and humble the White Widow's sullen heart. And she's managed to do that through cooking and baking, making a rather popular and successful restaurant together. Turns out they tend to be a wonderful match in both profession and personality, showing that opposites do in fact attract. But White's money is a matter of discussion, as some suspect that she's gained it through bloody money. She was invited as the main chef at the event, seeing as a way to redefine herself to the Hugh County's community. Well, unfortunately for her, old roads never go untraveled. I mean, it could be the chef, but would that be too obvious? Or maybe that's the point. Yes, and moving on from Miss White, our first loose cannon is the next one. The good Reverend Green. I mean, Mayor Green, right? Right? Oh, screw it. Mr. Green. Mr. Green. That is what you're called. Okay, so Mr. Green is also very much a loose cannon. He's been quite literally everything. So I literally just went balls to the walls. All we know for him is that he has definitely hidden his identity in most versions of the story. of Clue, of like he has been literally almost every occupation. He is Clue's Barbie, as I have come to realize as I am recording this. So, Jonathan, if that's even your real name, you notorious yet charming con artist. Having scammed multiple people and communities out of their savings and funding to serve as the budget for their own business endeavors, he is suave and savvy, never spending anything in one place. He's used to playing the long game, even once setting up the priesthood to become a priest for an extended period of time, until it was found out that the church he worked at, once respected by his followers, was found to have been laundering their offerings, smuggling illegal substances, and engaging in fraudulent activity. Mr. Green quickly and quietly left without a word, leaving the poor clergymen and women dealing with the very angry congregation. He wanted to go into hiding, lay low after that little stunt. But that was before his twin brother Thallo, the mayor of Hugh County, went missing, having to have gone into hiding due to a recent assassination attempt, and had kindly asked his brother via text on a burner, who, looking near identical to him, to take his place until he can safely return to his post. He's always had a good relationship with his brother, though now it's more distant than either of them would like it to be. So, in good faith, Mayor Green miraculously returned, which the county was most relieved to see him safe and sound. But nothing stays hidden forever, not even the deeds of a notorious thief. Why else would he have been invited under his real name? How very interesting. Alright, moving on from Mr. Green, we have the lovely socialite, Miss Peacock. Always handling herself with such dignity and grace, no matter the situation. Usually, there are times that she is a little bit frazzled, but that comes with the territory, doesn't it? Alright, so with Miss Peacock, with how I have seen her, she's been so many things as well, but she's mainly been a great dame, a middle-aged woman that always seemed to have maintained her dignity and grace. She's had many names. She's usually one time she had something to do with birds, which makes sense. She's a peacock. She was a senator's wife at one point. She's been a stepmother. She's been married to Mr. Body. She's had an affair with Colonel Mustard. Yeah, no, she's been an attorney. She's been a lot of things. So, my version of Miss Peacock, Henrietta, to those that know her best, is a woman who claims to still be in her prime, and in many ways that seems to be true. She carries herself with the type of dignity and valor that some seem to only hit in the height of their youth. A sort of adventurous and valiant spirit, her words commanding and final, said as softly as a bird's feather. A lively socialite, commanding a room with ease only years of experience could give you. Her great-grandmother, Patricia, a very well-known ornithologist, started the Peacock Salvation Society in honor of her favorite birds. Easily able to grab someone's attention and protect the endangered birds in their area. She had many dealings with the Black family, them having quite a lot of money in donation in exchange for the services of Mrs. Peacock's great-grandfather, father, mother, her brother Philip, and her own husband Azul in the Court of Public Affairs as the Black family's private solicitors and legal correspondents, having blackmail over their heads for generations. One by one, they all disappeared from her life, all dying tragically one after another. All those dirty dealings have now passed on to her after her own husband's passing. And the scorned attorney's wife has come to dinner so soon after her beloved's death. She herself has done nothing. She's never known that her husband took on these burdens in her stead, and now she's asking, nay, demanding to be free of these generational shackles before she's ever considered passing them along to the next of kin. Even if that means taking matters into her own hands. And she might do that, even. Well, I suppose that's all up to interpretation. professor, or doctor, or whatever, what have you. Professor Plum. Okay, so for Professor Plum, he's been so many things as well, but like he's mainly stayed a lot in the subject of being like a professor or a doctor or a psychiatrist once for the World Health Organization. So I did take the affair part out of that. No, we're not doing that. But I did make him have a little bit more of a shady past. And I did kind of want to keep him in archaeology, which is what he's mainly been in. So I will just tell you about my version of Professor Plum, or Peter Plum. I suppose he shall be named in private at this party, is currently an archaeology professor at the local Miskatonic University, focusing mainly in his area of interest of Egyptology. He's had a few other professions over the years, one being psychology, playing as a shrink psychiatrist in his youth to make a quick buck. He was quickly found and arrested for a short time. He never saw a jail cell, which he was thankful for. He knows that he wouldn't last a day in prison, although he has been shown to be able to scrap in the past. He'd just rather not see how long that would last. While his medical practice came to an abrupt end, it was the beginning of him wanting to clean up his act. So he went into his passion, archaeology and history. It fascinated him, and he wanted to learn all that he could on the sites he could, even if that meant breaking into tombs and destroying the seals of the long mummified and deceased. He says it's all part of the job in private. If we don't get in there, we'll never know anything more than we already do. And he knows that if that ever got out, that he would sell these artifacts and destroy the seals of ancient tombs, he would lose more than he already has, including the promising curator position that might have been offered to him. He doesn't want that, and he's been trying to clean up his act, but old habits die hard. And as Mr. Black knows that all too well, unfortunately for him, the professor was invited to prove himself trustworthy. But he's more likely to slip up more and more as he speaks. So he'd rather he handle things rather quickly, quietly, and sufficiently, because he knows how loud he can certainly be. I mean, all teachers are, aren't they? And that is all our suspects. But we still don't know who did this. how it really happened? Yeah, I have no idea. Video's over. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry for this random stint at the end. I just wanted to play off the movie one more time. But thank you all for watching. I should hopefully be back with more consistent uploads in the future. I will be better about that. I actually will be better about that. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully I will also finally be able to make an intro and an outro and keep that consistent as well. All right. Thank y'all so much. Have a great night. Bye-bye.